Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am so excited for this. With AOT's final season upon us, I felt it was necessary to explain the first part of the final season to catch everyone up just in time for part 2. Now, I've tried to shorten this one up, but AOT's story is so detailed and immersive that it may be too long for some people. So I implemented chapters in this video for you to skip around to each episode for your convenience. This video also took literally an entire week to make, so if you could, before we get started, leave a like. And I don't ask this often, but subscribe, as I will be covering Attack on Titan weekly for the final season, part 2. Let's get into it. Our story begins years after the events of season 3, with the child soldiers of Marley on the battlefield of Fort Slava. The Middle East has declared war on Marley, and thus they have sent in a combination of Eldian soldiers, child soldiers, and a new flock of warrior candidates. The first, Falco Grease, the brother of Colt Grease and nephew of Eldian restorationist, just Grease. Despite being a warrior candidate in line to inherit the Beast Titan, he doesn't show the same hatred for his fellow people and tends to think with logic and reasoning rather than racism and indoctrination. Due to this, he's generally a very kind-hearted young boy and has a crush on one Gabby Braun. She, on the other hand, is in many ways the opposite of Falco, as Gabby, who is set to inherit the armored titan from Reiner Braun, is drinking the Kool-Aid of Marley's indoctrination and believes the only good Eldian is a dead one. Thus, gives into her hatred for her fellow man and woman while simultaneously trying to prove they're much more than that. Needless to say, Gabby is a very complex and morally gray character. And along with them is their friends Udo and Sophia. Their goal is to take Fort Slava, and to start, Gabby Braun takes out an armored train using anti-vehicle grenades crafted from multiple fragmentation grenades strapped together. Achieving her goal, this allows the cart titan, Peak Finger, and the jaw titan, Porco Galliard, to move forward with their attack on Fort Slava. During this, it's revealed Marley has started the use of Zeppelins, which fly over the fort with their ace in the hole, weaponized titans. These Eldians are injected with Zeke Yeager's spinal fluid that he can turn into pure titans by screaming, and dropped mid-air from the Zeppelins to destroy the fort and cause a distraction. This then allows Reiner's armor titan to break into Fort Slava to take care of the anti-titan weaponry being used against them. This culminates in Zeke transforming into the Beast Titan and destroying the Middle East's Navy fleet. This puts an end to the 4-year war between the two sides, but brings up a new issue. Technology is developing at such a rapid pace that anti-Titan weaponry is becoming an issue. After the battle at Fort Slava, there is a meeting between Zeke and the other top brass in Marley's government and military to discuss their next moves. Zeke promises them that with his last year alive that he will retake the founding Titan, something they need to do now with the advent of anti-Titan weaponry proving a serious threat to their future. Though over the last 3 years, all ships sent to Paradise Island have yet to return, as they have been taken along with their soldiers by the Survey Corps. Even so, with Paradis controlling 2 of the 9 Titans, they are forced to act on this issue, so they go forward with Zeke's plan. While they continue to act out their plan, we focus back on the soldiers and warrior candidates headed back to their internment zones in Marley. Gabby is being praised for what she did by taking out the armored titan, and while that happens, Falco confides in Reiner that he doesn't want Gabby to become a titan and be forced to fight terrible wars and be used as a weapon. Reiner, in turn, encourages Falco to try his hardest to become the armor titan in her place. As they arrive back home and reunite with their families, Gabby tells her stories of war, which are largely positive, while Reiner's suggests his time on Paradise Island was more of a nightmare, prompting horror in his face and other listeners. The next day, Marley's next plan of attack is decided. They will use the Tiber family, a family full of prominent social figures, elite royalty, and the home of the Warhammer Titan, to hold a gathering at the Liberio Festival to announce war on Paradise Island and the Survey Corps. We are then treated to Reiner's past as a child, where he tried his hardest to become a warrior candidate to become an honorary Marleyan, though it wasn't enough, as people still treated him poorly. Eventually, he became the armor titan, though he did so at the cost of Porco Galliard, who would later become the Jaw Titan, as he originally aimed for Reiner's position. Magath, on their first mission as Titan warriors, are sent to flush out and reclaim the founding Titan from Paradise Island. Reiner is joined by by Annie Leonhardt, the female Titan, Bertolt Hoover, the Colossal Titan, and Marcel Galliard, the Jaw Titan. During the mission, a freak accident would occur where Marcel would be eaten by a dwelling pure Titan who would turn out to actually be Ymir. Annie would then suggest that they turn back and return to Marley, but Reiner would take failure as no option, and it forces them to push forward with the mission now down one person. They would eventually fail this mission and decide on Reiner's orders to infiltrate Marley as Survey Corps members as a way to flush out the Founding Titan. After recalling his past, Reiner makes an attempt at suicide, but stops when he realizes Falco is outside the window and decides from there to dedicate the rest of his life to give back to Falco and the other warrior candidates. Falco is then revealed to be going to a meeting with a former Eldian soldier who is faking amnesia to not be sent home. In reality, this is Eren Yeager, infiltrating Marley under the guise of a former Eldian soldier named Kruger, whose name is taken from the very man who saved Grisha Yeager in the former Attack Titan, which Eren gets his namesake from. Eren Yeager, under the name of Kruger, asks Falco to deliver a letter outside the internment zone. This leads to a meeting between Eren's grandfather, Mr. Yeager, and Eren himself to put an end to Falco being used by Kruger. It's revealed that Mr. Yeager himself has fallen on bad mental health and is not in the right mind. After this, the commander of the Marleyan military, Commander Magath, meets with the head of the Tiber family, Willie Tiber. They're to discuss an alliance between the Tibers and Marley to hopefully put an end to war and create peace between the Eldians and Marley. He then gives a speech on the day of the festival, where everyone is enjoying their time at peace, and for the grand ending to their day, a play put on by Willie Tiber and his family on the history of Marley. While this play occurs, Falco brings Reiner down at a basement to meet with Kruger. Realizing who it is immediately and being threatened by Eren, he is forced to sit and talk with him, or else. It's revealed during Willie's play the truth of the Fritz and the Tiber family. They completely made up the story of the hero Helos, who supposedly freed everyone from the tyranny of King Fritz. In reality, the Fritz and Tiber family made a deal that if peace cannot be kept by Marley, then the Wall Titans would be released in an event simply called the Rumbling. While this is happening, Peek and Porco are led to a room where they are then trapped in a pit hole by undercover Marleyan defector Yelena. Back on stage, Willie Tiber announces that a war has started, and it's all because of the man who stole the Founding Titan's power, Eren Yeager. Willie warns that this man is a threat to world peace, and that he is actively going against the deal that King Fritz and the Tibers brokered long ago. Now in the basement, Eren tells Falco and Reiner how both sides of Paradis and Marley are just the same, and that even he and Reiner are as well the same, but with different upbringings. Reiner, wanting Eren to not go through with anything drastic, harming Falco, Gabby, or the people close to him, begs forgiveness from Eren and for him to instead kill him in return. This simple plea isn't enough, as Eren has come too far to go back now and transforms, killing hundreds of innocent people in the complex there below, and Willie Tiber, who at the moment had just declared war against Paradis, and more specifically, Eren Yeager. But it's revealed in a flashback that Willie Tiber knew all along of his eventual demise, and in advance planned out with Magath that he would become a martyr if necessary for their cause. As Eren's attack rages on, he eats Willie Tiber, killing many high-ranking generals, some of which who approved Zeke's plan in episode 2, and in the process murders Zofia by flying debris, and then Udo, who is crushed to death by people running for their lives from the Founding Titan. Gabby and Falco, though, are able to recover Udo and then flee from the scene to a nearby hospital that is overflowing with the injured. There, they are forced to accept Udo's death, which sends Gabby into a rage and looking for vengeance, only to find more Eldian soldiers dying as they are picked off by the invading Survey Corps members, one of which being Sasha Browse. While Eren continues his attack, Lara Tiber reveals herself to be the Warhammer Titan and transforms, but is quickly attacked by Eren, only to get the upper hand on him again by using her powerful ability to create blunt objects and weapons using her hardening ability. During the battle, Peek and Porco are rescued by Peek's Cart Titan infantry, which signifies control being handed back over to Marley. Lara Tiber is able to expose Eren, and when going in for perform the final blow, Mikasa and the rest of the Survey Corps arrive to bail out Eren and even out the fight once more, signifying a major shift in favor of Paradis, using thunder spears and their 3DO gear, the sounds of which and the sight of sends horrors down the spines of the Titan shifters. Though it won't be as simple as point and shoot for the Survey Corps, as Lara's robust exterior proves a match to the thunder spears. Instead, it's Eren who figures out that Lara has simply burrowed herself into the ground, which he then exploits the weakness of, detaching herself from her Titan, which prompts Lara to harden into a crystal form, much like Annie did in Season 1. While this happens, Porco, as the Jaw Titan, tries to stop Eren, only to be stopped by the arriving Levi Ackerman, who severs Porco's jaw before he can bite into the nape. As the Survey Corps uses oppressive force to lay waste to Marley and stop Pieck from using her Cart Titan at full force, Lara uses her hardening to impale Eren Yeager and neutralize him. As this happens, Zeke's Beast Titan arrives and starts to attack the invading Paradis forces. Falco then re-emerges, as both Reiner and Falco survived the initial transformation due to some quick thinking by Reiner to create a pod-like structure to protect Falco, though Reiner seems to be in some sort of induced coma-like state, and Falco escapes, heading back to safety, where he runs into Magath and Gabby. While the full-on assault wages against both sides, the rest of the Survey Corps arrive, in particular Armin, who transforms into the Colossal Titan, wiping out and killing most life within its nuclear-like transformation, and destroying Marley's navy, which was to converge on their point to provide support for Marley. Levi, in turn, uses this to his advantage to take down the Beast Titan in the commotion, which also leads to Sasha and John being able to take down the Cart Titan, though John hesitates when he sees Falco trying to defend a helpless Pieck. This leads to the successful rescue of Pieck, though she's badly injured. This culminates in Hange arriving in their getaway Zeppelin that has already picked up Armin. Porco attempts to attack the Zeppelin, but is cut down to size by Eren and Mikasa. Eren, then, as if he is a nutcracker, uses Porco to shatter Lara and swallow her, gaining the ability of the Warhammer Titan in the process. But it's the cries of Gabby and Falco which awaken Reiner to save Porco from a certain demise. Though Reiner is no match for Eren, as he is extremely weakened and not fully armored, and Eren as well is nearly out of strength, so he chooses to escape, leaving their fight unfinished. Levi as well ties up Eren for essentially going AWOL and brings him to the Zeppelin. Gabby, though, still in a rage, keeps pursuing the Zeppelin, but is stopped by Falco, who tries to talk some sense into her of what's going on. They're creating a cycle of revenge, and it won't stop until the senseless killing of people stops. Gabby refuses his sentiment and instead continues to chase the Zeppelin, murdering Lobov in the process, which forces Falco's hand to go along with Gabby's plan as they use Lobov's 3DO gear to reach the Zeppelin's bay. There, Gabby quickly takes aim and shoots Sasha in the chest, killing her and obtaining revenge against her. This leads to the ultimate capture of Gabby and Falco by the Survey Corps. They are then brought to another room in the Zeppelin, where they see that Zeke has defected to the side of Paradis, taking the side of his brother. They are then informed that Sasha was killed at the hands of Gabby, and that her last words were simply meat, which prompts Eren to laugh, much in the same way he did in episode 12 of season 2. Helpless to save anyone, John tells Eren in anger that it was his mission that led to the death of Sasha, his beloved friend. We then learned that just 3 years prior, Marley sent ships to Paradis Island, but all of them were captured by the Survey Corps. This is where we learn that many within Marley's ranks are actually a part of the anti-Marleyan volunteers, two of which are Yelena and Onyan Kanpon. Yelena is a staunch supporter of Zeke Yeager's plan to initiate the rumbling to stop Marley. When Yelena's village was destroyed and taken over by Marley, Yelena found freedom and hope in Zeke. Onyan Kanpon is a constituent of Yelena and provides useful technologies to Paradis with their partnership. 3 years later, and now after the attack on Marley, we are introduced to Nicolo, a former former Marleyan soldier captured 3 years prior. He mourns the death of Sasha, who he was in love with, and gave him the courage to follow his true passion of being a chef. At the cemetery, he runs into Sasha's family, who offers him to go to a restaurant for dinner, which he accepts. We then see a couple of important things happen. Levi brings Zeke to a camp in the forest, which he will be able to keep an eye on him there. Armin talks to Annie's crystallized form about his troubled mind and if it was the right decision to do what he did by helping with killing innocents for Eren and Zeke's plan. And then we see Eren, who is in a cell much like Gabby and Falco, who were imprisoned after Gabby murdered Sasha. 2 years prior, Kiyomi Azumabito went to negotiate with Paradise Island at the recommendation of Zeke. It's revealed here that Mikasa's crest, handed down from her mother, means she is actually the long-lost descendant of an ancient ruler of Hizuru, though Kiyomi actually came to help Paradise in return for the Ice Burst Stone, which is used for the 3D Ogier. They also suggest something, a test of the rumbling. Doing this would ensure peace for many years to come and as well advance many avenues of technology. The key here though is that Zeke's Beast Titan would be continued to pass down through royal blood every 13 years, with Historia being the first in line. Another issue arises though as Eren disagrees with the proposal to sacrifice Historia, though as a year passes, it turns out that the partnership actually bore no fruits as Hizuru and Kiyomi chose greed rather than the original plan as intended. Present, Historia is now pregnant with a farmer's child and hidden away on said farm. As well, John, Connie, and Armin have lost their trust in Eren as a friend. Confused at his actions, which John and Connie propose that they have someone more trustworthy take over Eren's role and become the Attack Titan. Mikasa, on the other hand, still believes that there may be a chance. While that's happening, Gabby and Falco escape their prison cells and make their way into the forests of Paradise Island. They are found by a young orphaned child named Kaya, who brings them to her home, a ranch in the forest run by the Browse family, which takes in children who have no home or family. Agreeing to keep their true identities under wraps, Gabby and Falco are eventually found out by Kaya, who realized pretty quickly they were warriors of Marley. Kaya then shows the village, which was destroyed by Titans years prior, the very same village Sasha saved in season 2. Kaya asks Gabby if it's okay for her race of people to keep paying a price that her ancestors committed hundreds of years ago. Falco is able to talk some sense into the argument, acting as sort of the in-between as they calm down and return to the ranch. They are then informed that they've been invited to a dinner at a good restaurant within the walls. Seeing as the restaurant is run by a Marley soldier, they think that this is their chance to get back to Marley, so they agree to go. Meanwhile, Kiyomi has finally arrived on the docks to see one of the world's first flying boats, which runs on Ice Burst Stone. In Paradise, Flock and Lewis leak information about Eren being locked up, which leads to Hanj incarcerating them for their actions. Hanj then ponders the weight of the role that she's in and how the ones which came before her were able to act under such pressures. In Marley, they figure out that Zeke has sided with Paradise, and thus Reiner proposes to launch a full-scale counterattack now rather than later. In the meantime, Yelena, while being questioned, reveals that she met with Eren months prior to discuss the terms of their agreement. Onyan Kanpon, on the other hand, tells Hanj that Yelena is someone who is loyal to Zeke to the point that she will actually kill people. And though they were comrades with Yelena, no one, not even he, knew about what Yelena was planning with Zeke. Back in the walls, Armin and Mikasa run into Hitch on their way to meet Zachary as they plan to ask permission to meet with Eren. Zachary denies the request, and as they go to leave, Zachary is assassinated using explosives planted by the newly formed Jaegerists. This new group, dedicated to following Eren and making him the new leader of the military, break him out of prison. Though, at the news of this, Pixies feels he has no options but to give up and join them, as they do not know the identity of Jaegerist soldiers or followers, though they will use Zeke's location as a bargaining chip to do so. It's also suggested by Hanj that the Marleyan soldiers could be planned, as Yelena and Zeke are suspected to have already planned everything out as a way to cover all bases before moving forward. Back in the forest, Zeke tells Levi that 4 years earlier, Marley created a weapon to allow Zeke's spinal fluid to be synthesized into a gas-like substance. In any form, Zeke's spinal fluid is actually able to essentially paralyze people and put them in a state of limbo, to which he can then scream and turn those affected into pure titans. He did this exact same thing to those in Ragako village as a way to keep his cover going with Marley. As the festivals of the dinner are now underway, Falco and Gabby meet with Nicolo, and upon connecting the dots that it was Gabby who killed Sasha. Nicolo takes the bottle of wine he had and inadvertently smashes it over Falco's head. He then knocks Gabby out and brings the two to the Browse family and gives them the opportunity to kill them for their actions. Though, while Kaya will not forgive Gabby for her actions, the rest of the Browse family understand that by killing Gabby, that they would only be creating a cycle of revenge. Though, this is not their biggest issue, as Nicolo reveals to Hanj that the wine Falco accidentally consumed contains some of Zeke's spinal fluid, which was also given to many officials within Paradis. The Jaegerists then invade the restaurant, which leads to a meeting between Eren, Armin, and Mikasa. Eren reveals to them that while in disbelief, he is still a free person acting under complete freedom. While the conversation continues, he reveals to Armin that he has feelings for Annie, and the reason for this is because every Titan shifter carries the memories of the previous person to wield that power before. As for Mikasa, he states that her race of the Ackermans were essentially programmed by Eldia to protect what was then the royal family. Because of these two facts, Eren has hated both Mikasa and Armin since they were children. After a brief fight, which Eren wins, he takes them all to Shinganshina district. There, he plans to meet with Zeke to enact their plan together. In Shinganshina, Flock and the rest of the Jaegerists take over the military. He then forces the cadets there to beat Shadis, which Shadis then tells them to do as a kind of test for his now former cadets. What a badass. While this happens, in the forest, Levi is planning to have Zeke eaten when all of his comrades turn into pure Titans by Zeke. Zeke then uses the pure Titans to escape the forest, but Levi is in pursuit and eventually catches up to him. This leads to Zeke transforming, though is quickly taken down by Levi once again and captured. Quick work. Good job, Levi. Zeke then wakes up in a wagon with a thunder spear embedded in his body. As a way to torture and punish Zeke, Levi then starts to cut off Zeke's limbs as they grow back, which leads into a flashback to Zeke's childhood. One day, Zeke met Dr. Deceiver, who at the time was the current Beast Titan. With Grisha and Dinah already severely mistreating and using Zeke, he found solace with Xaver because he came to trust Xaver. Zeke told him about his restoration as parents, and at the behest of Xaver, Zeke reported his parents, who were then taken to Paradis Island. Later on, he would reveal to Zeke that the founding Titan has a hidden ability that he was able to determine through his research. The founding Titan can manipulate all Eldians' bodies, and as well, the secret of how to get around the vow of renouncing war. They both then agree to enact their plan to euthanize all Eldians as a way to stop what is happening to them at the hands of Marley. Years later, he would meet with Eren in Liberio, and there, they would both agree to Zeke's euthanasia plan. Now waking up, Zeke intentionally activates the Thunder Spears, which causes the wagon and him to explode. Due to the explosion, Flock with Hanj goes to investigate the sounds when they come across a pure Titan who rips open its stomach to put Zeke inside. In Shinganshina, all of the soldiers who drink Zeke's wine are rounded up by Yelena, while the rest of the Survey Corps members are placed inside of a prison cell. Yelena then comes to tell them of Zeke's plan to euthanize the Eldian race, and then using the rumbling as a way to buy time to have Eren and Zeke meet. While this is happening, Eren confronts Gabby, who he tries to get her to join his side, but rather smoothly, Peak comes into the picture and feigns convincing Gabby that the right choice is to defect to the Jaegerists. From there, they are led to the rooftop where Peak and Porco enact their plan of trying to eat Eren by surprise. Sadly, it does not work, though it does not matter, as Marley have arrived, ready for a fight above and below, as they now know Eren's location. And that is the ending to Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1, and a full video on Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1 being explained. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, as I will be covering Attack on Titan weekly on this channel. Check out my previous videos on the final season here, and thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.